Okay, as I predicted, Canelo won the third fight on the scorecards, but in my mind, Canelo did not beat Gennady Golovkin. Father Time defeated Gennady Golovkin. But first, look, let's talk about Canelo and his fans, praising Canelo for his humanity, for his humbleness, right? While wearing a golden crown of jewels on your head after making $40 million for a glorified sparring match, literally taking money out of people's pockets who can barely afford to put food on the table, humbleness, right? So, okay, look, guys, let's get serious. You guys know my official prediction was Canelo by unanimous decision. I said, or maybe even a late round stoppage. I also said in one of my previous videos, Jonathan Banks wants Gennady Golovkin to outbox Canelo in the third fight, and that was the worst game plan I've ever heard. Completely vindicated. So you guys need to listen to me. So basically, Jonathan Banks, let's take what didn't work in the first two fights and try it again a third time. Also, leading up to the fight, I said this fight would be, a big letdown, kind of like Mayweather-Pacquiao, because I knew Team Golovkin had the wrong game plan going into this. I even played a video of Abel Sanchez saying the exact same thing. I also knew and pointed out multiple times, Canelo, he's slowing down, a lot of wear and tear. He's made a ton of money, and he's not the same Canelo. Now, let's talk about, Canelo. Speaking of not the same Canelo promising he was going to knock out Gennady Golovkin, right? All that pre-fight Canelo vibrato. Here's the thing. It seems like the end of this trilogy from the Canelo fans is, wow, two great warriors that basically hated one another. Well, now they're BFFs because, they did a high five and they hugged at the end of the fight, right? But what happened to that guy, all that talk from Canelo? Why wasn't there at least a knockdown or any highlight in the fight? There was nothing. What happened to all that tough guy talk from Canelo? Like, he literally couldn't hurt a 40-year-old aging Gennady Golovkin. I also said if Canelo doesn't stop Gennady Golovkin, it would be an embarrassment to boxing, and it was, okay? Look, Canelo needs to humble himself. He's not as big and bad as he thinks he is, and this fight is 100% proof of that. Like I said, building up to this fight, it's a lose-lose fight for Canelo Álvarez because, look, here's the thing. He should have dominated. He should have at least knocked down, hurt, just anything. Something needed to happen, and it simply did not happen. I mean, think about it. Look at the first two fights. Really no highlight reels. Look at the third fight. A glorified sparring match. And to be honest, that's exactly why I didn't pay for this fight. I thought DAZN did a terrible job with the broadcasting. The commentating was awful. The undercard sucked, okay? And thank God I did not spend $100 on this fight. And Canelo fans, let me get this straight. Let's get one thing straight. Okay, Canelo is coming off a loss, and this fight is supposed to redeem Canelo Álvarez and his good name in the sport of boxing. Please explain to me how a prime Canelo couldn't do a damn thing against a 40-year-old aging boxer during his retirement fight. Like please explain this to me, Canelo fans. And I'll tell you, and look, we're going to read some of their copes a little later. So look, for me, the real story of the fight is the boxing fans that got screwed out of $100, right? Canelo didn't do what he said he was going to do, and now the Canelo fans are going to have to cope with spending $100 for nothing, as they diligently defend Canelo online. I mean, that's just the truth. That's what's going to happen. So look, let me read a few comments from you guys, the boxing fans. Forget about what old Counterpunch Boxing has to say. I want to hear from you. Okay, this is from a member in my boxing group on Facebook. He says, this was by far the worst commentary for a fight I've ever heard. They literally held one fighter to a different standard and we're not judging rounds properly whatsoever. If Gennady Golovkin was being gun shy, which he was at times, so the blank was Canelo. Canelo outlanded Gennady Golovkin by 10 total punches and hit Gennady Golovkin in the ass like 20 times, and they act like the fight was 10 rounds to 2. Okay, Gennady Golovkin has one mark on his face that happened in the 3rd round, and they act like Canelo beat the crap out of him. And he's dead. He's dead on here, right? The commentating sucked. Didn't show a single replay between rounds. Now, that's incredibly odd. Goes on to say, truly horrendous work by DAZN, and the fact that they shit on the judges at the end of the fight was just absurd. Now, I agree. Now, why didn't they, why didn't we get anything between rounds? No video, no highlights, no replays, no nothing. Was that maybe something to protect Canelo? Right? So the fans couldn't see that replay, that instant replay. I don't know, but that's incredibly odd that, in one of the highest profile fights of the year, DAZN is not showing replays. Incredibly odd. Okay, so this boxing fan goes on to say, I don't know, but I'm not liking Banks as a trainer. At the same time, his face looked way cleaner than the last fight. Gennady Golovkin either started slow or was just slow. I figured he overtrained or bad plan, etc. Just like I said, Jonathan Banks simply had the wrong game plan going into the 3rd fight. You can't take what didn't work the first 2 times and apply it the 3rd time and expect a different result, okay? So this guy says, if I'm Canelo, would not feel great for 40-year-old man if a 40-year-old man had to carry me. And that's kind of the theme of the fight, very uneventful, no highlights. The scorecards were weird. I'll make an entire video breaking down the scorecards. And we can briefly go over them now. So, of course, Dave Moretti, 116-112 right there in favor of Canelo. I thought that was egregious. Canelo won, but I don't know if I'd give him 116-112. Now, 115-113, fine. Okay, so, again, this is Wisefield right here, 115-113. And remember this guy, Sutherland. I made a video talking about this guy. I said he was going to score the fight 115-113. You guys, I called him a fence sitter. Go back and listen to my video. I said we already know his scorecard, 115-113. All right, so there it is. That's my immediate reaction to the fight. Now, yes, I'm going to make videos breaking this down round by round, from a boxing technical standpoint, who did what right and wrong. We can talk about the judges. We can talk about the crappy broadcasting from DAZN. We can talk about all of that. But this, you guys, if you follow my channel, these are the videos I make just off the dome, top of the head. It's not scripted. There's no research. I hit record and I simply start talking. So, and that's how I feel about it. It was a letdown. Canelo didn't do what he said he was going to do. Canelo did not defeat Gennady Golovkin. Father Time did, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, guys. So, all right, leave a comment below and tell me what you think about the fight.